trees, and their derivative products have been used by societies around the world for thousands of years. The annual global use of wood is approximately 4 billion cubic meters, and it is widely used as fuel and materials for buildings, furniture, pulp and paper. Though wood is often used in a wide variety of applications, wood has one disadvantage that can be mitigated by the selection of other materials, which is very sensitive to environmental conditions and wood pests. In the Federation of Malaya, it was estimated in 1953 the annual cost of repairs to government buildings, following termite attacks, was over £75,000. Therefore, it is important for us to identify the different types of pests that can cause deterioration in woods, and the ways to prevent those pests from attacking the wood. In this video, we are going to emphasize on 3 types of pests, which are insects, termites, and marine borers. Let's talk about insects first. So basically, there are 2 commonly known wood-destroying insects, which are wood-boring beetles and carpenter bees. Wood-boring beetles are the species of beetles whose larval or adult forms eat and destroy wood. The general anatomy of a wood-boring beetle is quite uniform. They typically have a particularly hard exoskeleton, a pair of wings, antennae, and elytra. Wood-boring beetles are usually referred as secondary invaders because most of them only attack after a plant has been weakened by stress. On the other hand, wood-boring beetles that attack healthy plants are called primary invaders, and their invasions may eventually lead to the death of their hosts. Among all the wood-boring beetles, powder-post beetle are the most destructive beetle pest for seasoned and partly seasoned timber. The beetle got their name was due to the fact that the larvae of these beetles feed on wood, and given enough time, can reduce it to a mass powder. They usually feed on deciduous tress, including certain hardwoods or softwoods, depending on the species. Softwood-infesting beetle tends to create more damages to host as they weaken the supporting and structures of a tree, though they are usually much easier to control. On the other hand, those that infest hardwoods usually cause cosmetic damage to woods only, but they are more difficult to control. Powder post's larvae are curved and wrinkled. Their diet is dependent on either the starch or the cellulose of the wood, depending on the type. Besides, powder post also prefer woods that have high moisture content, and their average life cycle is 1 year. The 3 most destructive groups of powder post beetles are the lictids, anobiids, and bostracids. One of the useful ways to get rid of powder post beetle is by lowering the moisture content inside the wood, through improving ventilation and installing dehumidifier. Applying pesticides that contain borates is also another effective way to eradicate this pest. Carpenter bees. They are primary wood-damaging insects. Most species of carpenter bees are all black, or primarily black with some yellow or white pubescene. They look similar to bumblebee, except they are darker in color and has a shiny abdomen. They have mandibles like teeth. Basically, they use them to cut and tear through wood. Carpenter bees get their common name from their habit of boring into wood. They do not eat wood but cause damage to structures by drilling circular holes to create tunnels inside wood in order to build their nest. Unlike other common bees, carpenter bees are not social insects and build individual nests into trees outdoors, or into frames, eaves, or sides of buildings. Sometimes, the nest may adjacent to each other in the same piece of wood and even share a single entrance which leads to different burrows. Though carpenter bees are usually harmless and serve as pollinators to many flowers and trees in surrounding vegetation, they are often being treated as pests. This is because carpenter bees can cause cosmetic and structural damage to woods. Female carpenter bees excavate new tunnels in wood for egg laying, or enlarge and reuse old ones. Significant damage can occur when same pieces of wood are infested year after year. Holes in the wood surface also facilitate moisture intrusion, rot, and decay. One of the ways to control carpenter bees is by applying liquid, aerosol or dust insecticides containing ingredients such as bifenthrin, cyfluthrin, deltamethrin or lambda-cyhalothrin into tunnel openings before tunnels are fully constructed. The hole is then plugged using a piece of wooden dowel coated with carpenter's glue, putty, or other suitable sealant. A layer of paint can also be coated on the surface of the wood to deter future bees from using the old tunnels, as well as moisture intrusion and wood decay. Termites are social insects, and they behave just like true ants we see in daily life. Because of that, human has been calling them white ants. However, both of the species are not related at all. Most of the termites live in warm temperate environment and cannot withstand cold winter environment. A typical termite colony has two types of sterile individuals, known as workers and soldiers. The workers carry out foraging and building operations, while the soldiers defend the colony against invades. Normally, one colony has one pair of king and queen. They are actively reproductive, and queen can lay 30,000 eggs per day during her lifetime. We can classify termites according to their habits and mode of life, and they can be divided into two main groups, such as earth-dwelling termites and wood-dwelling termites. Earth-dwelling termites are subdivided into subterranean termites, mound-building termites, and carter nest-building termites. They build their nests above the ground except for subterranean termites, whose build their nest underground. When they come out in search of food, they will build earthen tunnels to reach the wood or other palatable food materials with very high speed. Wood-dwelling termites can also be subdivided into dry wood dwellers and damp wood dwellers. The one difference between them are one live in dry seasoned wood and the other live in wood that is constantly moist. While wood-dwelling termites can only be prevented certainly by thorough preservative treatment of all susceptible timbers, or by the use of naturally durable ones. On the other hand, the damage done by the marine boring organisms to wood structures in salt or brackish waters is practically a worldwide problem. The organisms are called marine borer, and it can differentiate into four groups, which are shipworms, pholads, limnoria and sphaeroma. Shipworms are the most destructive of the marine borers, and they are worm-like in form. In the early stages of their life, they are free-swimming organisms and need to find a suitable wood to lodge on. After that, they quickly develop into a new form and bury themselves in the wood and lives on the wood borings, while the organic matter extracted from the sea water that is continuously pumped through its system. In the end, the entrance holes will never grow large, and the interior of wood will completely honeycombed and ruined, while the surface shows only slight perforations. Another group of wood-boring organisms is the pholads, which clearly resemble clams. They are like the shipworms, enter the wood when they are very small and leaving a small entrance hole, then grow larger as they burrow into the wood. The limnoria and sphaeroma are quite different with shipworms and pholads because they do not become imprisoned in the wood, but can also move freely from place to place. Due to the great numbers of limnoria, their burrows are only separated by very thin walls of wood that are easily eroded by the motion of the water. This erosion causes the limnoria to burrow continually deeper into the wood. The erosion is greatest between the tide levels, which the piles were heavily attacked by limnoria will have characteristically where within this zone to an hourglass shape. Sphaeroma are somewhat larger, sometimes reaching a length of 13 millimeters. And its general appearance and size resemble the common sow bug or pill bug that inhabits the damp places. They are widely distributed, but are not as plentiful as limnoria, and cause much less damage, although damage caused by sphaeroma action resembles that of limnoria. The borer damage to wooden marine structures can be prevented by using heavy treatment with coal tar creosote or creosote coal tar solution, and also metal armor and concrete or plastic jacketing can be used with various degrees of success for the protection of marine piles. Wood decaying pests are impossible to be wiped out as these creatures are so successful in terms of their characteristic and the way they live. It will cost a lot of money, energy and time just to decrease their number in worldwide. Therefore, we can only use preventions like treating wood or relying on preservatives to lower down the chance of wood attacks by pests.